A very good afternoon, my dear children. Welcome back to civics class. In the previous class, we have discussed about the salient features of the Constitution 1. In that concept, we had discussed the definition of single citizenship, universal adult franchise, fundamental rights. Only the names you will have to learn, only the fundamental rights names along with the articles. Then as well as fundamental duties. Fundamental duties I had given you in the form of a small audio recording type. Now in this lesson, before moving on to the main concept, the salient features of the Constitution 2, which we are going to discuss about in that concept, that is only according to the reduced syllabus this year. In civics you will have to learn only the meaning of the directive principles of the state policy and as well as welfare state. Only for these two words you will have to know the meanings. You need not to know about the sources or importance of the directive principles or importance of the welfare state. No, nothing else you will have to learn. Only you will have to learn in this concept the meaning of directive principles of state policy as well as meaning of welfare state. But before going to the concept, I would like to recall whatever you will have to focus for the examination purpose according to the reduced syllabus. Here, as I have already mentioned, that fundamental rights you will have to know the names only along with the articles. It is useful for you, and the definition of single citizenship and definition of universal adult franchise. And besides that, very most important concept you will have to know that, learn that writs which have been provided for the writs. What is the definition of writs, and what is which have been provided for the sake of for the protection of citizens of India according to the right, sixth right, the right to constitutional remedies. What was that? Just you recall, constitutional remedies. Fundamental rights are justiciable, that is, a suit can be filed in a high court or in the Supreme Court if fundamental rights are violated. If any citizen felt that, any citizen of India felt that if he or she had been violated by the fundamental rights, then he can approach the High Court or Supreme Court. So under Article 32 gives the right to constitutional remedies. The right is given to citizens to move Supreme Court for the enforcement of the other fundamental rights conferred on them. So here so with the help of the writs, 5 types of writs which had been discussed, very important my dear students, because it is also a part of 10th standard syllabus. 5 writs, what is the definition of writs and under which article these have been provided, and what are the 5 writs and what are names as well as definitions of the 5 writs also. Definition of writ and 5 writs and their definitions also: habeas corpus, mandamus, writ of prohibition, writ of certiorari and writ of quo warranto. All these 5 definitions you will have to learn. Then besides that, definition of writ also you will have to learn. So though it had been taught in the previous concept, just I am recalling because it is also a part of 10th standard syllabus, writs definition and 5 types of important writs. Now we will move on to the main concept, the fundamental duties. I am going to reteach you in this concept, fundamental duties first, and we will know the definitions of directive principles of state policy and welfare state. Fundamental duties is a very important concept. Here, what are the fundamental duties? When we want to enjoy the fundamental rights, simultaneously we will have to perform our duties also. Not only enjoying the rights, we have to do our duties. What are the fundamental duties which are mentioned, which have been mentioned in our constitution? To abide by the constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, that is the national flag and the national anthem, etc. Next, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspire our national struggle for freedom. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Whenever it is required, the nation, whenever it is called, we should be ready to defend our country and render the national service. Next, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst all people of India, transcending religious, linguistic and regional or sectional diversities. Next, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Very important, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and have compassion for living creatures also. Next, to develop the scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. And it is very important, last but not the least, it is the duty of a parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education for his child, or as the case may be, what between the age of 6 to 14 years, it is a duty of the parent or guardian to provide compulsory education for the child. These are the important fundamental duties which you have to learn. Next, we will move on to the directive principles of state policy and welfare state, which are mentioned in our constitution. As I have mentioned, according to the reduced syllabus, you will have to learn only the meaning or definition of directive principles of state policy and the meaning of welfare state. Luckily, you need not to learn about the sources of directive principles. From where do we get these directive principles? From which other constitutions we had included in our constitution? What were the sources to write about the directive principles of state policy, and what is the importance of state directive principles? All these things you need not to focus, only the definitions. Besides that, just for your information, I had given you the differences between the directive principles and fundamental rights. Now, what is the meaning or definition of directive principles of state policy? The directive principles are the guidelines to be followed by the government in the governance of the country. Just simple definition. They are the guidelines to be followed by the government. This is the key word, my dear. They are the guidelines to be followed by the government. In the previous concept, we have studied about the fundamental rights and duties which have been meant for the citizens of India. Of course, citizens of a country, rights which can be enjoyed and the fundamental duties which has to be performed. These rights and duties are meant for the citizens. Here, on the other hand, directive principles are meant for the government. With the help of they are the guidelines to be followed by the government to govern the country in a smooth way. They are the guidelines to be followed by the government to govern the country in a smooth way. So that is the definition. Next, welfare state. A welfare state is a state which seeks to ensure the maximum happiness of maximum number of people living within its territory. So when we can say a state is a welfare state, means if the state seeks to ensure or provide the maximum happiness of maximum number of people, those who are living within the territory or within a state, if the state is able to provide maximum happiness to the maximum number of people, then we can call it as a welfare state. So how it can be as a welfare state means by providing policies with the help of directive principles or the guidelines the government can provide and make maximum people as a happy, then we can consider the state is in a welfare condition, welfare state. Now the differences between the directive principles and the fundamental rights. So, directive principles, they are provided in part 4 of the Constitution. and fundamental rights have been provided in part 3 of the Constitution. These are not justiciable or enforceable by any court of law. Directive principles are not justiciable or enforceable by any court of law. That means guidelines, once if it is meant for the government, then we cannot question, we can't ask, we can't approach any court by questioning the directive principles. But fundamental rights are justiciable. These are justiciable. The citizens can seek protection from a high court or supreme court, as I have mentioned. If the citizen is not satisfied, or if the citizen of India has been violated by the fundamental rights, he or she can approach high court or supreme court with the help of writs. So fundamental rights are justiciable, but directive principles are not justiciable. Next, directive principles are meant for the government to create certain privileges for the citizens. Privileges means certain facilities, to provide certain facilities for the citizens. On the other hand, the fundamental rights are the privileges in existence for the citizens to enjoy. Next, directive principles are mere directions to the state to attain certain set objectives. Then fundamental rights are a certain kind of restriction on the state. Next, they aim to establish a welfare state. Directive principles aim to establish a welfare state. These guidelines or policies, whatever have to be followed by a government, they should aim to establish always a welfare state. But here the fundamental rights are aimed to establish a political democracy. Next, their scope is wider and they deal with a wide range of subjects, including international peace and security also. But fundamental rights scope is limited as they are concerned with individuals' rights. These are the differences between last year and for the past all the years they had to study the differences also. So that just I have given you an idea about the differences between the directive principles and fundamental rights.